name is Jonathan Daly for PaganPages.org, and today we are interviewing the third head witch of Pagan Pages. So, Lady Saoirse.
Sare-sha.
Sare-sha. Sorry, Saoirse. I looked at the name and Saoirse came out. Okay. Sorry about that. Sare-sha. There we go. So tell me about a little bit about you and how you found Pagan Pages.
Oh my goodness, it's a wonderful story. I had to have a career change. I had stopped working in healthcare and then I became sick. So I was stuck at home. And one of the girls that I knew said, "Why aren't you writing?" And I'm like, "Well, I've not written in years." And she's like, "Find a volunteer venue." And I found a couple of them, but then Jennifer had posted Pagan Pages on Craigslist, I swear, under the volunteer things. And I sent her a writing sample, and I've been doing this since 2016. And then this year, Sarah asked me to do admin, and I just love it.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit about what you've been doing for Pagan Pages? Just
About
mainly
what?
writing? What have you been up to for Pagan Pages? Writing, reviews?
Okay, well, first off, I started as one of the column writers, and then we added a second column, and then I started doing some book reviews. But Jennifer and I would always talk when she wanted a second opinion on something, and we would always check on each other. And then when Sarah signed on, she knew that I was still helping with those things. So one of the things that I do is just when they're deciding when to do something new, the three of us discuss it. Ideas for bringing new writers in. I post some things on Pages and try to find new writers.
Okay.
I caught up with one writer to see where she was and turning things in. It's just the basic administrative stuff that you do. Jennifer and Sarah do the publishing and the editing, and they do all the WordPress, the arranging, and picking pictures, doing fonts and things. And one of the things that I'm responsible for is things like this, because I've done a lot of talking directly with people, and the camera loves me.
I love it.
It doesn't love me as much as it loves you. I have got to say, my God, you're gorgeous. And so we try to have a meeting once a week and discuss everything. And we're coming up with ways to do, we're going to do a raffle. It's my job to do the live giveaways, except for you're going to do some too. Yes. You know, so a lot of the live things, I do that. And then just helping to discuss things and come up with ideas and make decisions.
So for someone who has never seen PaganPages.org, how would you describe the Zine to them? Like, what is the focus and what is the goal?
The focus and the goal of Pagan Pages is to get writing out to the pagan community and do it for free and do it online. Previously, before this year, it was once a month, and this year we've been doing it every other month. And next year it's going to be right at Sabbath time. So we're going to do 8 issues next year. And it gives a platform to people who want to share with the community, share their knowledge, share the information that they have. And it brings people together. I mean, we're a family. You know, we are a national family of pagan writers, and we've got at least one writer that's not in the U.S. at all. So this is just, there's plenty of things that you can go to the bookstore and buy to read and to learn about your path. But for a lot of us, this is one way that we give back. And share what we know and learn from each other. So it's all about learning and building up pagans and building up pagan writers. It really is.
That's amazing. Where do you see Pagan Pages going in the future?
Oh my goodness. Well, considering the fact that it's not quite been 20 years, but it's been about 14 or 15 years now. And it just started out as a page. And then you know, from there it went to a newsletter, and then from there they had to publish an e-zine, I just see it continuing to grow because the digital world is very powerful for us. Most pagans love to read, and being able to get things online, especially in the COVID world, it's very important to us, and this is something that stays on record permanently.
Right.
So I see our family of writers growing. I mean, we have a gorgeous host that is very charming and brilliant that does a YouTube channel for us now. And we never had that before. Yes, darling. And I mean, we're looking to add somebody to review podcasts. I mean, maybe at some point we can do something with music. I don't know. I mean, we get to review books, and you're reviewing all of our ducks for us. We do giveaways. People always come up with new ideas to put new things in there for the community. Right. Somebody's going to drop a suggestion at some point. We're going to say, oh gosh, why didn't we think of that? We're just going to keep adding to it. We're going to keep adding more people. The knowledge is going to grow. The genres are going to grow. I mean, we're on how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different social media platforms. That's going to continue to change and evolve.
Right. Oh, yeah. And the links for those platforms are in the description of this video.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you.
No problem. Cut and paste. Easy peasy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is it you look for in a writer?
Well, this is going to sound really ugly. So let me just say I'm the mean one. Jennifer and Sarah are nice. I'm mean. For me, I have my degree in writing, and every job that I've had to write. I get paid to do writing for a living with my day job. So for PaganPages, I want our writers to be professional, even though all of our work is volunteer. None of us get paid. Maybe someday that will happen. I would love for all of us to get a full-time income from this, all of us. The writers need to be professional, and they need to bring something to the table. I mean, one of the girls just signed on to write with us, and she's got an extensive background working with children and writing for children, and she brings that specialty to the table. We have somebody that does specifically writes about the gods and goddesses. Every issue, she has extensive knowledge about that. So you have to have good writing skills, and you also have to have a voice. Right. When you read, like if you read Stephen King from book to book, it's Stephen King's voice. He's got his own personality and flavor that he brings to the writing. So each of our writers has their own flavor and personality and voice that they bring, and it's nice to read. You read some things on your line, and you're like,
dry.
All of our writers are interesting to read, and accuracy is what I look for, because sometimes people will write things and it's just a load of baloney. So we have.
Did you actually read the book?
The accurate, knowledgeable writers that are interesting to read and actually have something to say. All of our writers are good.
I found that from just reading the articles, because when I joined, I was like, oh right, I haven't written in forever. I'm going to read some articles just to see what's going on here, and it was like,
when you're ready.
I mean, it's amazing how easy it is to get back into it, like if it's been a love of yours. So, but sitting there and reading the different articles that have already been published, it really helped me realize that, as you said, each person really writes in their own voice.
Yeah.
And that was what made me realize, like, no matter what I do, it's going to be okay because it's in my voice. So no one else is going to be able to write like that.
Right. And I mean, that's one reason why we don't, I mean, just in general, for writing in general, it's so hard to actually plagiarize somebody that's a known writer, because they'll know that's not you. Mm-hmm. It's just so interesting. It's just so interesting.
Okay, it's a little off topic, but that made me think, what about those writers that always use ghostwriters to write for them.
Oh
So
my gosh. Oh my gosh. When I was looking for my day job, there were ghostwriter jobs there. And I really had to think about how I felt about that.
writing in someone
Because,
else's voice.
yeah, I mean,
But
how would you
yeah,
get another job from that? How would you use that as a reference? I can see if you're a famous person and you can't write a lick and you need somebody to help you write the story of your life, but it says down there who the writer is,
right.
so yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's anyway, back to Pagan Pages. For someone who's never read any of the articles, what would you tell them they would find by looking at Pagan Pages? Like, what kind of articles do you see on a regular basis?
Pagan.
Pagan. Their pages full of pagans, right?
So we have the sacred articles about the religious aspect of paganism, and then the hands-on magic. I mean, there's somebody that does a cooking article. There's somebody that does magical crafting. So I mean, when I was a baby witch, they told me there's two things that a lot of people do in our magical communities. Some people just practice magic, and some people just do the worship. But you get both. So you get the
Right.
religious and the secular aspect of paganism and pagan pages. And I don't know what percentage of which, but we've got plenty of both.
Plenty of both. Yeah, pagans and witches.
Well, yeah, that's a good way of saying it, because witchcraft is a practice and
Right.
paganism is a religion. Now,
Religion.
Gardnerians would argue that you have to be a religious Wiccan to be a witch, but the rest of us use the term otherwise. So.
Right. Well, I've studied so many different paths at this point that like they all kind of blur together now because there's a lot of overlap for
Yeah.
a lot of them. So, what percentage of the Zine each month is reviews?
Oh, God. Oh, my God. We have an overwhelming amount of books that come in. These publishers and then people who self-publish send a ton of
A
books.
ton.
I don't even know. I could not. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was more than there's like 50. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 50 reviews a month. I'm sure there's at least 20. And at some
Wow.
point when the decks come rolling in, Jonathan, you're going to stack those decks. We get a lot. I mean, and I think that's one thing that makes, that gets the word out about us, because when I'm reviewing somebody, they're so excited, especially if it's a newer publisher or a newer writer. They're like, oh, wow, this is about me. Look, I'm going to show my whole family this. And there's all those people seeing about Pagan Pages. It's a partnership. It's a partnership. We get the word out about what business people are out there doing things in the community. Sometimes people send things from their shops for us to review. So, oh God, I'd say, my gosh, maybe at least 25%, maybe up to 50%. So
Wow.
much. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing for me on the other side, since the very first video on this channel is me interviewing a writer, is they'd love to be able to talk about what they write and like explain it better, right? Because what writer doesn't be like, I should have written it or added that one sentence, or right? So being able to interview them, I get to see where they wish they had done something a little different, but at the same time giving them that platform to express what it is that they were trying to portray in the book. I think is powerful for them. So,
and it's exciting when you're a fan of somebody's writing. It's exciting to hear from them, to see them talk live, to get a taste of who they are. It's a wonderful feeling.
Yes, definitely. And I look forward to more interviews because I think that's, for me, where I really thrive, is because I want to see that book, that deck, whatever, from the creator's point of view, because it opens it up in a way that like nothing else does. I mean, I have decks that I interviewed deck creators for, and like, I will never look at that deck the same way twice. Like, just because it got so opened, and I understand it in a way that like me just buying a deck and playing with it would never really get. Like just yesterday on my own channel, I interviewed the creator of the Unfolding Path Tarot.
Oh, pretty.
And it was her first interview, first showing anywhere ever. Right. And it really, I don't know, first of all, her agreeing to come to my channel was like amazing. But seeing the cards from her point of view and why she did certain things, and like getting little details that like you wouldn't have noticed otherwise explained, it really opens the deck to readings in a way that like, I don't know, it's hard to put into words, you know. It's an opening of the deck that you wouldn't find just playing with the deck by itself.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean,
and I think that's what we give to them with the reviews of the books and decks, right?
Well, these people who create things, it's art. And you put a piece of yourself into everything that you create. And when you actually hear from the person what their creative process was and all the things that went into that, it makes their creation make a little more sense. It gives you more insight to details about it. And it gives you a more intimate portrait of what it's all about.
Right. Well, and that's, for me, it was interesting getting to interview the Tea Witch, right? Because I had written a review of her book, and then I got to interview her. So all the questions I had in my review, I got to ask her in person and get like the answer from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So I think being able to do that with this channel is going to be something that really helps PaganPages blossom in a way that I don't think anything else would. That's why I was talking about like being able to talk to the creators and really have things open up. That's a gift that like is priceless. So I look forward to more of these kind of interviews too. You know, getting to know how the PaganPages works in the background, right? Like there's 3 people really working hard to keep this up and running, and right. So thank you for everything you do. Yes. Thank you for Jennifer and Sarah as well.
Right. You're really great.
The 3 of you are amazing. So.
Well, you are a sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to?
It's the wine and cake and chocolate that keeps me going, darling. So it's the wine.
I love it. Is there anything else you want to mention about PaganPages?
Well, just keep watching for more changes. Just keep reading. All of those links that Jonathan has listed for our social media, you know, you can go to PaganPages or to read the issues, but Jennifer keeps those links stocked. She's always putting little blips in every day, so things will come up to the top of the feed. Ooh, what can I read for today? It's so exciting. So just keep watching for those things. And also, we are always accepting new people into the PaganPages family. And if you don't really write, but you're really good with technology, oh yeah, we might be able to use your help with that, because part of the magic is what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And if those of you watching have anything that you want reviewed, you can certainly reach out to us and see about that too. So there's always opportunities to join us. And if you just want to read, that's okay too.
I love that. So can we get a little skinny on Jennifer and Sarah?
Oh, okay. Well, we talk regularly, so I've gotten to know them on a personal basis. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about their personalities first. Jennifer has a heart of gold. She is a matriarch in her family. If somebody is sick, she takes care of them. If a baby needs raised, she raises them. If you need nurtured, she nurtures you. And she really takes it to heart how much she loves people. I remember when I was not well, she would check on me to see if I was okay. And I've never, ever had a supervisor that checked on me the way that she did. But Jennifer is one of the kindest, most caring people in the whole wide world.
Yes.
And then Sarah is very caring too. Sarah is so smart. She makes everybody else on the earth look dumb. She is this gorgeous blonde who is so humble, and she will be very matter of fact when she's speaking, but she is so sweet too. And both of those ladies are animal people. They both have like 4 dozen animals, and so do I. So now, professionally, Jennifer is the one that started PaganPages with her husband, and she did that back in 06. It's coming up on 20 years in 4 years.
She's truly the mother.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. And it started as just a page on Yahoo, and then they added a newsletter to that, and it got too big, so they opened it to other social media things, and then she realized there was going to have to be the e-zine. Well, then her husband had to pick up more work, so at some point she put a call out to us earlier this year that she wanted people to pick up admin, and Sarah said, I can take the whole magazine if you want me to, because she is so talented on computers, and she was an arts major in college. She has done all kinds of freelance digital design, and she just published a tarot deck called the Entanglement deck. So she is not only, oh, you got it. Are you the one that's got it? Okay, are you the one that's mailing that out, by the way?
I actually got this when she first came out with them. I got it from Natalie's website.
Okay, so that's your copy.
Yeah, this is my copy, my personal copy that I bought. Like, I don't remember when I got it. Like 9 months ago, I want to say.
It is such a unique deck, and I mean that deck is very Sarah. Sarah is one of the most unique people you could ever hope to meet, and she is just so multi-talented. She's really funny. If I put a message up there, she responds just like that. I mean, it's like,
right.
Are you in the house? Where are you? These two have undying energy. They both do work for PaganPages 7 days a week, and I'm like, I'll see you tomorrow. I have things to do.
Right, like the thumbnail for this video, I was like, I need a thumbnail, and they're like, I don't know. I think it was like maybe 5 minutes later, she's like, here you go. Okay.
She made it look so good. And Sarah has more tech and art experience than Jennifer has, but Jennifer and her husband did everything since 2006. You know, she did all of the editing. So, I mean, they both have a passion for keeping this running for the community, and they are pagan. So, yeah, they're really fantastic to work with too. Oh my goodness. Now, Jennifer is a New Jersey lady, so she talks like this. Sarah doesn't have an accent at all, and I don't know what kind of an accent I have. Jennifer is a Libra. I am a Libra, so I feel sorry for Sarah when she's aligned with 2 flighty Libras. She is an Aquarian, and so there's all these ideas floating around. But Sarah will have an idea, and she'll say, "Okay," and she'll do it.
I know. See, I'm a Virgo, Libra moon. So I understand the Libra, though. I have a Libra moon, so I understand the Libra side of things.
Well, for me, I am close to the cusp of Virgo. And I have a Leo ascendant, so I have that passion, that energy, so that keeps me moving forward. And Jennifer just does so much. Oh my God, it's like she's an octopus. She's got 8 arms.
I love that. Oh, amazing. Um, so to wrap things up, because we are on that half hour mark, almost 25 minutes here. For those who are looking to possibly join as a writer, how do they get in touch with you?
Okay. On our page, PaganPage.org, there is a spot where you can apply. You fill out the form and you put in a writing sample and you send it. And then either Jennifer and Sarah are the ones that are handling that. They will get back with you about that. But just have that writing sample ready before you send that form, because we want a flavor of how
Yes.
you write and what it is that you have to say.
Mimi, come here.
Who you got there?
Little girl.
Who you got there?
Speaking of animals.
Oh, yes.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. No, you don't want to come up? Come on.
Oh, goodness.
Come here. Oh, my goodness, little girl. No, she's going to go under the table instead.
Oh, okay. Well, I have the door closed so that mine can't get in. Our kitten is now climbing the refrigerator, so I figured she'd be walking back and forth during this interview.
Well, yeah, so one of our cats is a rescue. My husband's a veterinarian, and this cat was run over, unfortunately. Now is blind, and he's a sweetheart. He's a Siamese. But when I was trying to do my live yesterday with Athene talking about her deck, he kept coming up and like rubbing his face on mine while I'm trying to like talk to her. And I'm like, okay, time to go down. And then like 5 seconds later, here he is rubbing on me. I'm just like, I'm trying to do a live here.
Oh, I have a contest with one of the girls that loves hair. My cat's more spoiled than your cat. And we talk back and forth.
Yeah, we've got 2 spoiled cats.
Good. Good. The only thing better than 2 spoiled cats is 3 spoiled cats.
Well, we do need one that's a lap cat, because neither one of these guys are lap cats. The dog is the lap cat, I guess. Oh, really? You're just going to make yourself a home on the couch now, huh? Oh, you are one silly little girl. Yes, you are.
That's so cute.
Yeah. None of our animals were ones that we chose. They were basically the universe thrust them upon us. She is a Jack Russell mixed with a Dachshund, I think.
Oh my gosh, you must have so much energy to keep up with that. Ooh.
No, she's really mellow. All she wants to do is lay on you and like lick you.
Okay.
She's a total little lap dog. Yeah.
I have a Schnauzer mix and she's crazy. And then the kitten is into everything. She's at the 6-point mark and I'm like, oh.
Oh. Yeah, the little blind Siamese, he's 2. So he's still got that teenage energy of always wanting to play.
Is yours a seal point Siamese?
I'm not sure if he's even a full-blood Siamese. But I mean, he looks Siamese and he acts Siamese, like he meows all the time.
Let me see if I can show you this. Ours is
big. He's really big.
See.
There you go.
Lynx
oh yeah,
point.
very similar. Very similar. That kind of grayish, silvery color.
Yeah, she's a lynx point, so they have a really, really sweet disposition. So when she plays, she doesn't bite or claw. She's very gentle. So, yeah.
That's my other cat, Kiana, who was, I don't know where she is. She's napping somewhere. But she's a total sweetheart. And even when she's mad, she never uses her claws. It's like.
That's sweet.
Okay. So for everyone who's looking at your name and going, Saoirse?
Sare-sha. It looks like Saoirse. It does. It's a Celtic name, and I chose that as my craft name when I was initiated. It means freedom.
Freedom.
Freedom. Yep.
Well, I will type in the chat the name that I kind of came up with. So, and no one seems to be able to ever pronounce it right.
That's beautiful.
So that is Dracorvid.
That's pretty. What does it mean?
So it is an amalgam word. So I took Draco and Corvid.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Dracorvid. Right.
There you go. Okay. Very nice. And you have
Everyone
your
has the name,
beloved
right?
feathers.
Well, and then I don't know if you know Arwen Lynch. She's a writer. Arwen Lynch. She's a writer for U.S. Games and Rockpool, I want to say. She wrote the book for Gentle Creatures Oracle, Garden Dragons Oracle. I'm trying to remember what else. Anyway, she saw that name Dracorvid because that's what I use on Instagram for my private account, and she's like, "Oh, Dracorvid wants all the shiny things."
Nice. Very nice.
I'm like, yeah, Corvid and Dragon, they're all like always about the treasures. Like, yeah, I do like my shinies.
There you go. Very nice.
And speaking of creating, I do create wearable crystal grid necklaces.
Ooh, very nice.
If anyone's interested, my contact information is in the marketplace pages of PaganPages.org.
Make sure that you put that on the Pagan Marketplace with PaganPages and let people know what you have available. Yes. Have you had a chance to list your
my necklaces, I have to say, is I don't just make a necklace and then sell it normally. Every time I've just made a necklace, it ends up being mine. So it's because it's not just a necklace, it's a spiritual tool. It's a wearable crystal grid, right? Mm-hmm. So what I usually end up doing is I talk to the person about what they want to focus on. Most of I have a lot of crystal skulls as the pendants. Not everyone's into that, but I can deal with other kinds of pendants. For myself, I'm a crystal skull keeper, so it just felt right to do wearable crystal grids with a crystal skull attached. But I talk to the person about what they want, what energy they want, or like if they want it to be like something they wear for meditation, something they wear when they're working with the ancestors, whatever, right? Something to bring peace, bring courage, whatever it is that they want. And then I research about what crystals are best for that kind of stuff. I pull out the beads that I do have. And then what I usually do is I ask their guides to come in and help my guides guide my hands in the weaving of the necklace. Then I almost never use everything I pull out. It's like I pull out everything that I think is appropriate, and then the guides tell me which ones to actually use. And then once I finish the creation, I do a sun bath to basically blast it clean. And then I drape it over a Tibetan salt lamp, which I call my earth bath. And that's just to charge it up again. And then depending on what energy is requested, I'll either do a new moon or a full moon bath as like the final activation. And it's always inside a crystal skull grid that I make myself. Well, the guides, tell me what to put where. Right. And then I usually send a couple of the crystals that were in that grid with the piece to the person so that they can also like recharge it if they need to.
Very smart. See, that's exactly the kind of information we take down for our interviews and reviews. Right. That's what people want to hear. People want to know, what your creative process is, how you do it, and your motivation behind it, why you do it. And then, people will be like, what tools do you use for that? Or where do you get your crystals? Or,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And I actually had someone request that I make moon water with, so like I made a very special moon water for her because I went to Yale Valley here on Maui. It's a sacred river.
Nice.
Like people, I've talked to people who are like locals who like were dealing with chemo radiation for like
Mm,
cancer, and they said that if they hadn't been able to go up and just lay in the healing waters of the river,
yeah.
they would have died. Um, so that water is very sacred. And then I get some water from the ocean here. There's a
Nice.
spot I go to that's it's an amazing ocean vortex. I don't know, like the energy vortex, and there's these springs that bubble up through the sands right where the ocean is crashing. So it's a mix of fresh and salt water right there, and I get it's like special. And then I put that jar in the center of the grid, but wound the necklace around it, and then did my grid around them because the necklace is always at the center of the grid. And so she not only got the necklace, but she got the necklace and moon water that is tied to the necklace.
Perfect. So it's a magical working just to create the necklace.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. It's not, like I say, it's not just jewelry, it's a spiritual tool, right? So, I mean, this one, my howlite has amethyst and blue lace, agate, and all kinds of stuff, and some pearls here too. This one I use specifically to help, since howlite's good for giving voice. I wear this a lot for interviews and stuff, just so I can like be able to communicate better.
Right.
And then there's one I have that's lapis lazuli and chevron amethyst. And I usually wear that one when I'm doing readings because it just helps me just channel a little easier. And I've had many necklaces go out at this point, and I know I have one person who has two. One specifically to work with the ancestors, and one to help him like process and move on and be able to grow. Right? Another person here on Maui got two as well. One is just like, as personal, like guardian kind of energy. And then the second one I actually used, instead of a skull here, it was a tiger's eye Kuan Yin head. And it was a necklace specifically to help him find self-compassion, right? And work on like nurturing himself. So it's like I anything you can think of, I will make a necklace for. So.
That's awesome. For me, a lot of the substances that I use for magic come from the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And I spend a lot of time in my kitchen. I've had my own garden before. I have a friend that grows, she did a poison garden once even. And of course she didn't poison anybody, I don't think.
Well, that's the thing. As an herbalist myself, I understand that plants that are poison, if you have just the right amount instead of poison, it's medicine.
True. Mm. True. So for me, a lot of my work is in the kitchen, but most of my magic is for personal transformation.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people will come to magic because they want to control everything around them. And unfortunately, we can't always do that. I have a friend right now that's trying to get rid of some neighbors, and she's using all kinds of spell work to get rid of them. But I think the neighbor's will to stay is stronger than her will to get rid of them. So no amount of spell work or hot foot powder or anything is going to get these people to go anyplace. Right. So for us, for me, I learned that early on as a baby witch. Having grown up having no say in anything, no control. The idea of using witchcraft to control my own destiny and be in the driver's seat of life was very appealing. But then I realized we can't always decide everything that we want to decide, and we can't have complete control over other people. So controlling myself became my focus of my magic, and growing and learning and becoming my best self and controlling my reaction became a big part of my magic because I am a very anxious person and I am a bitch. So watching my words, watching my behavior, and thinking, the most powerful magic that I found that I use is there is one way that you can control people. Think about what it is that makes them react this way and do that. That's why they say dress for the job you want.
Right.
It's a glamour.
It's a glamour.
If I walked in looking like this, wanting certain jobs, they would laugh me out the door. You know, but if I wore a suit and was speaking the language they used, they would pay attention to me, and that would make it easier for them to think that I fit there. So I think, yeah, Anton LaVey wrote about that with perfumes. He said, don't wear the perfume that you like. Wear the perfume that the person who you're interested in likes, because it will draw them to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not really considered magic. It's considered mundane, but it's magic. Right. And it's psychology also. So let's see, I started on my magical path. It's been over 15 years, you know, and coming up on almost 50 years old now. And I was about 30 when I started my magical path. So it's been between 15 and 20 years. And my entire philosophy on what I use magic for and what it can do has drastically changed. And using magic the way that I use it now, I actually have more control over my own life than I ever imagined having. And 90% of it is attitude. So
I started my magic path when I was 13.
Oh.
I was going to this summer camp in New Jersey, of all places. And this one guy was offering a class. He just called it the New Age class. But it was basically witchcraft, right? Because we learned the tarot, we learned about runes, we learned about pendulums, we learned about crystals, we learned about energy work, we learned about basic witchcraft. We did a past life regression together. Like all in one summer, I was introduced to all of it at once. And then where I was growing up in California, there was a used bookstore around the corner from my house that had a special little room that was just like the occult stuff. And then around the corner the other way, there was an actual little witchy store. So I had it all right there in front of me when I got home after taking all the lessons to heart at summer camp. So yeah, and I just turned 47 a week ago.
Oh my gosh, I'm turning 47 on the 26th of this month. So you're Year of the Rabbit. We're both Year of the Rabbit.
Yes. One thing that I learned going to acupuncture school is that the way we Westerners think of Chinese astrology is very dumbed down. Like just the year by itself is meaningless. You need to know your 5 signs, which is year, month, week, day, and hour.
Yeah.
And the day sign is actually what your personal sign is. So even though I was born year of the wood rabbit, if you look at my day sign, I'm a fire dragon.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that part I didn't know. But one thing that I did learn about Chinese astrology is how good of a year you're going to have depends on which year it is. Like what is the year of this year? I don't know either. All I know is that it's a very good year for rabbits. This year is a very good year for rabbits. Some of the signs are not going to have such a good year. And then next year is supposed to be a really good year for rabbits too. So I'm like, yes, 2 good years. Let's go 3. Right. So, I mean, it's interesting. And they wanted me to do an article on Chinese astrology for Mystic Sense, which is my day job. And I just did, it was 2,000 words, just a basic overview of each of the signs. But then they gave me a bunch of keywords, and there were all these other aspects of it that I could put in there. And I learned so much while I was doing that. I had no idea that the year that it is influences your life, even if it's not your year. But it makes sense because this has been a really great year.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if you get the full chart where they know like what your 5 signs are, they can really like pinpoint exactly what kind of year you can have. Like not just that it's good, but it's going to be good in this particular area. Or
nice.
Yeah.
Do you need to go to Chinatown to get that, or can you get that online?
God, I had a website at one point. I'll have to look and see if I can find it again.
Okay.
But yeah, there was some good websites out there. Things changed like in 2017, where a lot of stuff like that was free suddenly you had to pay for it, or it was just like gone for some reason. So I don't even know if the website I'm thinking of even exists anymore, but I'll try and find it, because it breaks it down to the 5, and then it like tells you what each one means as well.
So it's basically like getting your natal chart cast only in the Chinese
Right.
stuff. That's nice. That's nice. I did not know that you could do that. See, I learned something else.
Well, I mean, isn't that why we're here, to learn from each other?
That's what it's all about. I mean,
right.
I got my 3rd degree this year, and my priest is like, you have to still continue studying. You're not done, sweetheart. We're never done. We're never done.
Never done.
Never.
That's the thing that I've learned in life, is you're constantly spiraling around back to the things you thought you knew and learning a whole new aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's always something else to learn constantly. But it's,
Mm-hmm.
Learning is a lifelong pursuit, actually multiple lifelongs.
Yes. So multiple even when we're old witches, we have to learn new tricks.
Yeah. Oh. God, I've been a witch for 34 years.
Oh, good for you.
That's crazy.
Your opinion on that? You know what? I don't think that a witch is made. I think that a witch is born. So I think that you have been a witch 47 years, and I have been a witch for 46, almost 47 years. I just didn't realize that. I mean, I started doing reading when I was 11, and I was called when I was 19, but I didn't cross over until I was 29 going on 30. I did not find my path. There were signs everywhere, but I was raised Catholic, so I didn't listen. Right.
Well, you listened when it was time to listen.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing that I've learned, because one of the things I do is past life regressions, and one of the things that I learned, past lives and ancestors are very intertwined. You can't really separate ancestors from past lives.
I think so.
And as witches, we've been doing this for multiple lifetimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is, the people on both of my sides of the family, I'm the only pagan that I know of. There's probably some distant cousins I don't know, but I'm the only one that's an actual pagan. But all of them use magic.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, even my nephew, his kids can't lie to him, not because they're not good at it, but because he's got this sixth sense. He can tell what's going on. And he's a supervisor at his work. He can tell what's going on. It's just natural psychic ability. You know, and my mother was one of the most powerful witches I ever knew. She was very good at getting people to do anything she wanted, except me, of course. But I mean, I don't know anybody that was as good at convincing people to do everything she wanted as she was. Yeah. But with her, she was very manipulative. So it wasn't necessarily a good thing. When the spell was broken, when there were all 5 of her husbands who divorced her, Once that spell was broken, once they realized what she was up to, she was never able to latch into people again. But there were some people that she was able to convince all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean that's another form of witchcraft, but she was a Christian until the day she died.
Right.
So
I've met plenty of Christian witches.
I've met witches across any
Oh,
religion. I've met atheist witches.
Yeah, oh yeah. I've met witches that don't believe in any gods or goddesses.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have a friend that's like that, and I'm having a pagan family reunion next spring, unless COVID gets worse. I've not picked where we're going to do it yet. It's going to be in Columbia. I know. I hope not. Yeah, let's do some magic, man. It's called vaccines.
Well, I've had it at this point. So
are you okay? You've not had it?
We went to Belize in July, and which was amazing. I got to go to the Mayan underworld and see 1,000-year-old skeletons in situ in the cave. Yeah. But when we got back, the day after we got back, my husband tested positive for COVID. And then I still tested negative. That was on Tuesday, I tested positive. And then that Friday, I tested positive, even though I had tested negative the day before. I just woke up with like a weird feeling in my throat, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then we were down for a couple weeks, and then I'm mostly better. I'm constantly exhausted.
You've got the long haul fatigue. Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And brain fog's getting better. It was bad for a while there. Like I would forget what I was talking about in the middle of talking about. In the middle of a sentence, I forgot what I was saying. I'm like, well, what was I just saying?
You are another year older. So
my mom's like, it's just old age.
Oh, that's terrible. And you should have said, look who's talking, Mom.
I'm like,
my God.
Oh, so is that why you can't remember anything?
Yeah. So I'm going to do my pagan family reunion next year in Columbus. And there's one of the shops where I want to have it, but I don't know if they have room. Last time I did it, about 10 years ago, there were about 50 pagans in and out.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I'm really looking forward to that, but I've not been able to have a Sabbath celebration in person since COVID started.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, for those listening, if you're in the Central Ohio area, on the 25th of September, starting at 3:00 at High Banks Metro Park, Three Cranes Grove, the Druid Association here in Columbus, is having their 20-year anniversary celebration.
Wow.
They've been around for 20 years. I can't believe it. They're wonderful. They're really good people. So that's going to be outdoors, so I'll probably go to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything outdoors seems safe. But
yeah, indoors, not some. I mean, they're doing the Witches Ball here this fall, and we're not going this year because that's going to be indoors at Veterans Memorial, but they did it last year too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're brave witches. And just
brave witches. I guess they just assume that they're protected.
Oh yeah. I mean, so me and my husband, neither of us have had symptoms. So we may have had it and been asymptomatic, but still scared.
Yeah. Well, and it's so weird how life is just going back to normal now, even though it's still rampant.
Yeah, it is. And it seems like the numbers are picking up again too. Yeah. So yeah,
it's interesting. Here in Hawaii, the numbers were skyrocketing. Now they're slowly dropping again. But it's like these surges that keep coming. And I think that's it. That's just going to be part of normal life now, is that we have there's the cold season, the flu season, the COVID season.
And now that it's back to school, everybody's getting sinus infections. So.
Oh, yeah.
This is one thing I do not miss about having done medical care. Everybody stayed sick with stomach flu or upper resp or strep on a constant basis. And I mean, I went into retail before I started doing online work.
Right.
And you don't get sick nearly as often, when you're not working in medical care or in schools. You just don't.
Acupuncturists.
Oh, you guys get sick too, don't you?
Well, because everyone comes to us for colds and flus all the time, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to touch people too. And
Right.
people will not cancel their appointments when they're sick.
Actually, I find it strange that, like, okay, I always tell them if you have a cold or flu, don't cancel,
Absolutely.
because
Right.
acupuncture is one of the best things for the cold or the flu.
But you might catch it.
I put on a mask, wear that. It's okay.
Okay. Okay.
I But it's funny how often I've had patients call and cancel because they have a cold or flu.
Well, they also
Yeah.
don't feel good.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Um, I miss being able to do my house calls. I mean, I haven't really been doing acupuncture for years because of COVID and being stuck as a stay-at-home parent, right? Dealing with, okay, it's time to log back onto your class. Okay, now it's time to do this work for your classroom. We got to take a picture and send it to your teacher before your next log on. Come on. And that has been my life for 2 years. So I'm glad he's
Mhm.
finally like back at school in a way. But they just got rid of this year. They just got rid of all mask requirements. No mask needed at school anymore. They're just like, and they also changed the rules for COVID. It used to be like if a kid came down with COVID, his entire class would be shut down for like 10 days. Now, just that kid has to stay home for 5 days and then comes back and then wears a mask for the next 5 days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One of my neighbors was going to come pick up a rose bush from me and needs to come in to get it to get onto the patio. And her boyfriend came down with COVID, so they're not coming right now. And it's just, she's a dental tech, so she probably caught it at work from somebody. And so, I mean, this is interesting getting through this as witches. I'm seeing a lot of the conservative Christians thinking they can just believe that the disease won't touch them and that Jesus will keep it away. But I'm seeing my pagans, because I mean, people who practice witchcraft used to do things like alchemy, and folk medicine
Right.
used to be considered a form of magic. So we've had our feet in science for generations of people who have been practicing the craft. So for us, a form of magic for me is medicine.
Right.
And
Definitely.
also the mask. The mask is very magical. Opening the window and distancing is magical too.
Mm-hmm.
So for us in the pagan communities, it's been easier for us not to spread it.
Taking a microbiology class really helps me understand.
Oh, there you see. That's what I'm talking about.
The reason we distance is because each person has their own personal cloud of bacteria that extends 3 feet from their body. That's
Yes.
why we want that 6 feet distance, so that way our clouds are just not really touching, right?
Yes, that makes perfect sense. Well, and then also you want ventilation, because
Exactly.
those germs linger in the air and you can walk through it. It's just, we've learned so much.
Right. Well, and the other thing I find is that witches and pagans, they're very earthy. So they accept science because it's telling us exactly what's going on with the earth. Right. I mean, yes, we are very mystical and magical and think of gods
Yeah.
and goddesses and angels and fairies and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we also, on the flip side, really pay attention to, bacteria in the soil, creating certain growing conditions and like the pH of the soil and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyone who's ever had a garden or done any kind of herb craft, any of that stuff, knows about the science side of things. So,
Yep.
yep.
All except for the people in our groups that are the toxic positivity mind over matter people.
Oh, right. Oh, you were negative, so you called it in. I wasn't negative. I just, traveled through an airport where no one was wearing a mask. And that's probably where we picked it up. Who knows where we picked it up? I know someone who isolated, masked every time they left the house, never left the house except to go into their own garden.
Right.
And still caught it.
Yeah.
Where did they get it from?
Well, they're saying that the newer variations, the particles are smaller and they blow through the masks more easily. Now, that hasn't kept me from starting going to restaurants again. I'm sure you can tell that I'm well fed. I like food.
Nothing wrong with food if you're a kitchen witch.
Yeah, true. We may need to pull back. We're probably going to have to pull back once fall hits, because as things get colder, people are gathering indoors more and doing less things outside, and so
another wave hits. Yep.
We're going to have to see what the winter brings this year.
Definitely. Okay. Well, on that lovely note.
Yes, we had fun. Darling, we'll have to talk again. Thank you so much for interviewing us about PaganPages. Thank you for joining our family and for being so awesome.
Thank you. This has been amazing. I can't believe a whole hour has flown by already. So if you have any comments about this interview, have questions at all, put them in the comments below, and we will do our best to answer. So thanks for watching, and until next time. Aloha and hui ho.